Chapter 1 of Ecclesiastes. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Martin Geeson. The Book of Ecclesiastes, in the Wycliffe translation. Revision of John Purvey, 1395. Chapter 1. The words of Ecclesiastes, son of David, the king of Jerusalem. The vanity of vanities, said Ecclesiastes, the vanity of vanities, and alle things ben vanity. What hath a man more of all his travail, be which he travaileth under the sun? Generation passeth away, and generation cometh, but the earth standeth without an end. The sun riseth and goeth down, and turneth again to his place. And there it riseth again, and compasseth by the south, and turneth again to the north. The spirit compassing alle things goeth in compass, and turneth again into his circles. Alle floods enteren into the sea, and the sea fleeteth not over the mark set of God. The floods turnen again to the place from whence thou comen forth, that thou flow eft. Alle things ben hard. A man may not declare those things be word. The ear is not filled by sight, neither the ear is filled by hearing. What is that thing that was, that shall come? What is that thing that is mad, that shall be mad? No thing under the sun is new, neither any man may say, Lo, this thing is new. For no it yede before in worlds that weren before us. Mind of the former things is not, but socially neither thinking of those things that shullen come afterward shall be at him that shullen come in the last time. Ecclesiastes was king of Israel in Jerusalem, and he purposed in my soul to seek and in search wisely of alle things that ben mad under the sun. God gaf this worst occupation to the sons of men, that they shouldn't be occupied therein. I see alle things that ben mad under the sun, and lo, alle things ben vanity and torment of spirit. Why would men ben amended of hard, and the number of fools is great without an end. I spake in min heart, and I said, Lo, I am mad great, and I passed in wisdom alle men that weren before me in Jerusalem. And my soul seech many things wisely, and I learned. And I gaf min heart, that I should know prudence and doctrine, and errors and folly. And I knew that in these things also was travail and torment of spirit. For in much wisdom is much indignation, and he that increaseth cunning increaseth also travail. End of chapter 1. Chapter 2 of the Book of Ecclesiastes, in the Wycliffe translation. Revision of John Purvey, 1395. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Martin Geeson. Therefore I said in min hertes, He shall go, and he shall flow in delices, and he shall use godes, and he seek also that this was vanity. And lying he arretted error, and he said to joy, What, art thou deceived in vain? He thought in min herte to withdraw my flesh fro wine, that he should lead over my soul to wisdom, and that he should eschew folly, till he should say what were profitable to the sons of men, in which dead the number of days of her life under the sun is needful. He magnified my works, he builded houses to me, and he planted vines, he made yards and orchards, and he setted though with the trees of all kinde, and he made cisterns of waters, for to water the wood of trees growing. He had in possession servants and handmaids, and he had much money, and droves of great beasts, and great flocks of sheep, over all men that weren before me in Jerusalem. He gathered together to me silver and gold, and the castles of kings and of provinces. He made to me singers and singeresses, and delices of the sons of men, and cups and vessels in service, to held out wines. And he passed in riches all men that weren before me in Jerusalem. Also wisdom dwelled stably with me. And alle things which min eyen desirden, he denied not to him. Neither he refrained min herte, that ne it used all lust, and deleted itself in these things which he had made ready. And he deemed this my part, if he used me travail. And when he had turned me to alle workes which mine handes hadden made, and to the travails in which he had sweat in vain, he seek in alle things vanity and torment of the soul, and that nothing under sun dwelleth stably. He passed to behold wisdom, errors, and folly. He said, What is a man, that he may sue the king his maker? And he see that wisdom yede so much before folly, as much as licht is diverse from darknesses. The eyen of a wise man ben in his head, a fool goeth in darknesses. And he learned that all perishing was of ever either. And he said in min herte, If all death shall be both of the fool and of me, what profiteth it to me that he have more business to wisdom? And he spake with my soul, and perceived that this also was vanity. For mind of a wise man shall not be, in like manner as nether of a fool, without an ende. And times to coming shullen heal alle things together with forgetting. A learned man dieth in like manner and an unlearned man. And therefore it annoyed me of my life, saying that alle things under sun ben evil, and that alle things ben vanity and torment of the spirit. Eft he cursed all my business, by which he travailed most studiously under sun. And he shall have an heir after me, whom he knowen not whether he shall be wise either a fool. And he shall be lord in my travails, for which he swat greatly, and was busy, and his ony thing so fine. wherefore he ceased, and min herte forsook for to travaile further under sun. For when another man travaileth in wisdom, and teaching, and business, he leaveth things gotten to an idle man, and therefore this is vanity and great evil. For what shall it profit to a man of all his travail and torment of spirit, by which he was tormented under sun? All his days being full of sorrows and mischiefs, and beneath he resteth not in soul. And whether this is not vanity? Whether it is not better to eat and drink, and to show to his soul a goodness of his travails? And this thing is of the hand of God. Who shall devour so, and shall flow in delices, as he did? God gave wisdom, and cunning, and gladness to a good man in his seed. But he gave torment and superflu business to a sinner, that he increase, and gathereth together, and give to him that pleaseth God. But also this is vanity, and vain business of soul. End of chapter 2. Chapter 3 of the Book of Ecclesiastes, in the Wycliffe translation, revision of John Purvey, 1395. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Martin Geeson. Alle things han time, and alle things under sun passen by her spaces. Time of birth, and time of dying, time to plant, and time to draw up that is planted, time to slay, and time to make a hole, time to destroy, and time to build, time to weep, and time to lie, time to bewail, and time to dance, time to scatter stones, and time to gather together, time to call, and time to be fair fro callings, time to win, and time to lose, time to keep, and time to cast away, time to keep, and time to sew together, time to be still, and time to speak, time of love, and time of hatred, time of battle, and time of peace. What hath a man more of his travail? He seeth the torment which God gave to the sons of men, that they be occupied therein. God made alle things good in her time, and gave the world to disputing of them, that a man finde not the work which God hath wrought fro the beginning till into the end. And he knew that no thing was better to a man, no but to be glad, and to do good works in his life. For each man that eateth and drinketh, and saith good of his travail, this is the gift of God. I have learned that alle works which God made lasten steadfastly, till into withouten ende. We mun not add anything to tho, neither take away fro those things which God made, that he be dread. That thing that is made dwelleth perfectly. Those things that shouldn come weren before, and God restoreth that is gone. I sich under sun unfaithfulness in the place of dom, and wickedness in the place of richtfulness. And I said in mine herte, the Lord shall damn a just man and an unfaithful man, and the time of each thing shall be done. I said in mine herte of the sons of men, that God should prove them, and show that they ben like unreasonable beasts. Therefore on is the perishing of man and of beasts, and even a condition is of ever either. As a man dieth, so and the beastes dien. Alle beastes brethren in like manner, and a man hath nothing more than a beast. Alle things ben subject to vanity, and alle things goen to all place. Thou ben mad of earth, and thou turnen again together into earth. Who knoweth if the spirit of the sons of Adam steers upward, and if the spirit of beasts goeth downward? And he perceived that nothing is better than that a man be glad in his work, and that this be his part. For who shall bring him that he knowe things that shullen come after him? End of chapter 3. Chapter 4 of the Book of Ecclesiastes, in the Wycliffe translation. Revision of John Purvey, 1395. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Martin Geeson. He turned me to other things, and he see false challenges that ben done under the sun, and the tears of innocence, and no man comforter, and that they forsaken of the help of alle men mun not again stand the violence of him. And he prized more dead men than living men, and he damned him that was not born yet, and see not the evils that been done under the sun, to be blissfuller than ever either. Eft he beheld all the travails of men, and businesses, and he perceived that thou ben open to the envy of neighbour, and therefore in this is vanity and superflu business. A fool foldeth together his hands, and eateth his fleishes, and saith, better is an handful with rest than ever either handful with travail and torment of soul. He beheld and found also another vanity under the sun. On is, and he hath not a second, not a son, not a brother, and nevertheless he ceaseth not for to travail, neither his eyen ben filled with riches, neither he bethinketh and saith, to whom travail I, and deceive my soul in goods. In this also is vanity, and the worst torment. Therefore it is better that twain be together than one, for they han profit of her fellowship. If one falleth down, he shall be underset of the t'other. Woe to him that is alone, for when he falleth, he has none rising him. And if twain sleepen, they shullen be nourished together. Who shall own be mad hot? And if any man hath maistry against own, twain against standen him. A threefold cord is broken off hard. A poor man and wise is better than an eld king and fool, that cannot before say into time to coming. For sometime a man goeth out both fro prison and chaines to a realm, and another born into a realm is wasted by neediness. I see alle men living that goen under the sun, with the second young waxing man that shall rise for him. The number of people of alle that weren before him is great without measure, and they that shullen come afterward shullen not be glad in him. But also this is vanity and torment of the spirit. Thou that enterest into the house of God, keep thee foot, and neigh thou for to hear. For we much better is obedience than the sacrifices of fools that wete not what evil they do. Speak thou not anything foolily, neither thine heart be swift to bring forth a word before God. For God is in heaven, and thou art on earth, therefore thy words be few. Dreams suen many businesses, and folly shall be funden in many words. If thou hast vowed anything to God, tarry thou not to yield, for an unfaithful and fond behest displeaseth him. But yield thou whatever thing thou hast vowed. And it is much better to make not a vow, than after a vow to yield not behestes. Give thou not thy mouth, that thou make thy flesh to do sin, neither say thou before an angel, no purviance is, lest peradventure the Lord be wroth on thy words, and destroy alle the works of thine hands. Where ben many dreams, ben full many vanities, and words without number. But dread thou God. If thou sayest false challenges of needy men, and violent domes, and that richtfulness is distried in the province, wonder thou not on this doing, for another is here than an he man, and also other men ben more he above these men. And furthermore, the King of all earth commandeth to the servant. End of chapter 4. Chapter 5 of the book of Ecclesiastes, in the Wycliffe translation, revision of John Purvey, 1395. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Martin Geeson. An avaricious man shall not be filled of money, and he that loveth riches shall not take fructus of them, and therefore this is vanity. Where ben many riches, also many men ben that eten them. And what profiteth it to the holder, no but that he saith riches with his eyen? Sleep is sweet to him that watcheth, whether he eateth little either much, but the fullness of a rich man suffereth not him to sleep. Also another sickness is full evil, which ye see under the sun. Riches ben kept into the evil of her Lord. For they perishen in the worst torment. he gendred a son that shall be in sovereign neediness. As he yede naked out of his mother's womb, so he shall turn again, and he shall take away with him nothing of his travail. Utterly it is a wretched sickness. As he came, so he shall turn again. What therefore profited it to him that he travelled into the wind? In all the days of his life he ate in darknesses, and in many businesses, and in neediness and sorrow. Therefore this seemed good to me, that a man eat and drink, and use gladness of his travail, in which he travailed under the sun, in the number of days of his life which God gave to him, and this is his part. And to each man to whom God gave riches and cattle, and gave power to him to eat of tho, and to use his part, and to be glad of his travail, this is the gift of God. For he shall not be think much on the days of his life, for God occupieth his heart with delices. End of chapter 5. Chapter 6 of the book of Ecclesiastes, in the Wycliffe translation, revision of John Purvey, 1395. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Martin Geeson. Also another evil is, which is sich under the sun, and certes it is oft used anentes men. A man is, to whom God gave riches, and cattle, and honour, and nothing faileth to his soul of alle things which he desireth. And God giveth not power to him that he ate thereof, but a strange man shall devour it. This is vanity and a great wretchedness. If a man gendreth 100 free sonnes, and liveth many years, and hath many days of age, and his soul useth not the goods of his cattle, and wanteth burying, he pronounce of this man that a dead born child is better than he. For he cometh in vain, and goeth to darknesses, and his name shall be done away be forgetting. He seeth not the sun, neither know diversity of good and of evil. Also, though he liveth 2000 years, and useth not goods, whether alle things hast not to all place. All the travail of a man is in his mouth, but the soul of him shall not be filled with goods. What hath a wise man more than a fool? And what hath a poor man? No, but that he go thither where is life. It is better to say that thou covetest, than to desire that thou knowest not. But also this is vanity and presumption of spirit. The name of him that shall come is cleped now, and it is known that he is a man, and he may not strive in dome against a stronger than himself. Words ben full many, and han much vanity in disputing. What need is it to a man to seek greater things than himself, sithen he knoweth not what shall befall to him in his life? in the number of days of his pilgrimage, and in the time that passeth as shadow. Either whom I show to him what thing under sun shall come after him. End of chapter 6. Chapter 7 of the Book of Ecclesiastes, in the Wycliffe translation, revision of John Purvey, 1395. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Martin Geeson. A good name is better than precious ornaments, and the day of death is better than the day of birth. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to the house of a feast. For in that house of mourning the end of all men is molested, and a man living thinketh what is to coming. Ear is better than lying, for the soul of a trespasser is amended by the heaviness of chair. The heart of wise men is where sorrow is, and the heart of fools is where gladness is. It is better to be reprived of a wise man than to be deceived by the flattering of fools. For as the son of thorns branding under a pot, so is the lying of a fool. But also this is vanity. False challenge disturbeth a wise man, and it shall lase the strength of his heart. For sooth the end of prayer is better than the beginning. A patient man is better than a proud man. Be thou not swift to be wroth, for ire resteth in the bosom of a fool. Say thou not, what guessest thou is of cause that the former times were better than be now? For why such acting is found? For sooth wisdom with riches is more profitable, and profiteth more to men, saying the sun. For as wisdom defendeth, so money defendeth. But learning and wisdom hath this more, that thou even live to her welder. Behold thou the works of God, that no man may amend him whom God hath despised. In a good day use thou goods, and before eschew thou an evil day. For God made so this day as that day, that a man finde not just pleinings against him. Also I seek these things in the days of my nativity. A just man perisheth in his richtfulness, and a wicked man liveth much time in his malice. Neil thou be just much, neither understand thou more than is needful, lest thou be astonished. Do thou not wickedly much, and neither thou be a fool, lest thou die in a time not thine. It is good that thou sustain a just man, but also withdraw thou not thine hand from him. For he that dreadeth God is not negligent of anything. Wisdom hath comforted a wise man over 10 princes of a city. Forsooth, no just man is in earth that doeth good and sinneth not. But also give thou not thine heart to alle words that be inside, lest peradventure thou hear thy servant cursing thee. For thy conscience would that also thou hast cursed oft other men. He assayed all things in wisdom. He said, he shall be mad wise, and it yet a way further from me, much more than it was. And the depth is he, who shall find it? He compassed all things in my soul, to kunne and behold, and seek wisdom and reason, and to know the wickedness of a fool, and the error of unprudent men. And he found a woman bitterer than death, which is the snare of hunters, and her heart is a net, and her hands ben bondes. He that pleaseth God shall escape here, but he that is a sinner shall be taken of here. Lo, he found this, said Ecclesiastes, on and other, that he should find reason, which my soul seeketh yet, and he found not. He found a man of 1,000, he found not a woman of alle. He found this only, that God made a man richtful, and he meddled himself with questions without number. Who is such as a wise man, and who knoweth the expounding of a word? The wisdom of a man shineth in his chair, and the mightiest shall change his face. End of chapter 7. Chapter 8 of the Book of Ecclesiastes, in the Wycliffe translation. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Martin Geeson. He kept the mouth of the king, and the commandments and swearings of God. Hast thou not to go away fro his face, and dwell thou not in evil work? For he shall do all thing that he will. And his word is full of power, and no man may say to him, Why doest thou so? He that keepeth the commandment of God in this life shall not fail anything of evil. The heart of a wise man understandeth time and answer. Time and season is to each work, and much torment is of a man, for he knoweth not things past, and he may not know by any messenger things to coming. It is not in the power of man to forbid the spirit, neither he hath power in the day of death. Neither he is suffered to have rest, when the battle neigheth. Neither wickedness shall save a wicked man. He beheld all these things, and he hath mine heart in alle works that been done under the sun. Sometime a man is lord of a man to his evil. He see wicked men buried, which when they liveden yet, weren in holy place, and they weren praised in the city, as men of just works, but also this is vanity. Forsooth, for the sentence is not brought forth soon against evil men, the sons of men done evils without any dread. Nevertheless of that a sinner doeth evil 100 seasons, and is suffered by patience, he know that God shall be to men dreading God, that reverencen his face. God be not to the wicked man, neither his days be made long, but passeth they as shadow, that dreaden not the face of the Lord. Also another vanity is which is done on earth. just men ben, to which evils comen, as if they didden the workes of wicked men. And wicked men ben, that ben so secure, as if they han the deeds of just men. But he dem also this most fine. Therefore he praised gladness, that no good was to a man under the sun, no but to eat and drink, and to be joyful, and that he should bear away with himself only this of his travail in the days of his life, which God gave to him under the sun. And he setted him in heart to know wisdom, and to understand the departing which is turned in earth. A man is that be dies and nichts, taketh not sleep with Ian. And he understood that of all the workes of God a man may find no reason of those things that ben done under the sun. And inasmuch as he travaileth more to seek, be so much he shall find less. Yea, though a wise man saith that he knoweth, he shall not more find. End of chapter 8. Chapter 9 of the Book of Ecclesiastes, in the Wycliffe translation. Revision of John Purvey, 1395. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Martin Geeson. I treated alle deze things in min herte, to understand diligently. Just men and wise men ben, and her workes ben in the hand of God. And nevertheless a man knoweth whether he is worthy of love or of hatred. But alle things ben kept uncertain into time to coming. For alle things befallen evenly to a just man and to a wicked man, to a good man and to an evil man, to a clean man and to an unclean man, to a man offering offerings and sacrifices, and to a man despising sacrifices. As a good man, so and a sinner, as a forsworn man, so and he that greatly sweareth truth. This thing is the worst among all things that been done under the sun, that the same things befallen to all men, wherefore and the hearts of the sons of men been filled with malice and despising in her life. And after these things they shullen be led down to helles. No man is that liveth ever, and that hath trist of this thing. Better is a quick dog than a dead lion. For they that leven weten that they shullen die. But dead men knowen nothing more, neither han made further, for her mind is often to forgetting. Also the love and hatred and envy perishen together, and they han no part in this world, and in the work that is done under the sun. Therefore go thou, just man, and eat the bread in gladness, and drink the wine with joy, for thy workes pleasen God. In each time the clothes be white, and oil faile not fro thine head. Use thou life with the wife which thou lovest, in all the days of life of thine unstableness. that ben joffen to thee under sun, in all the time of the vanity. For this is the part in the life and travail, by which thou travailest under the sun. Work thou busily whatever thing thine hand may do, for neither work, neither reason, neither cunning, neither wisdom shullen be at helles, whither thou hastest. He turned me to another thing, and he see under sun that running is not of swift men, neither battle is of stronger men, neither bread is of wise men, neither riches ben of teachers, ne grass is of crafty men, but time and hap is in alle things. A man knoweth not his end, but as fishes ben taken with an hook, and as breeders ben taken with a snare, so men ben taken in evil time, when it cometh suddenly on him. Also he seeth this wisdom under the sun, and he praved it the most. A little city, and a few men therein. A great king came against it, and compassed it with palace, and he builded strengths by compass, and besieging was made perfect. And a poor man and a wise was funden therein, and he delivered the city by his wisdom, and no man bethought afterward on that poor man. And he said that wisdom is better than strength. Who therefore is the wisdom of a poor man despised, and his words be not heard? The words of wise men ben heard in silence, more than the cry of a prince among fools. End of chapter 9. Chapter 10 of the Book of Ecclesiastes, in the Wycliffe translation, revision of John Purvey, 1395. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Martin Geeson. Better is wisdom than armour is of battle, and he that sinneth in all thing shall lese many goods. Fleas that dien lesen the sweetness of ointment. Little folly at a time is preciouser than wisdom and glory. The heart of a wise man is in his right side, and the heart of a fool is in his left side. But also a fool going in the way, when he is unwise, guesseth alle men fools. If the spirit of him that hath power steeth on thee, forsaketh thou not the place. For heiling shall make greatest sinnes to cease. An evil is which ye see under the sun, and goeth out as by error from the face of the prince. A fool set in high dignity, and rich men sit beneath. He seeth servants on horses, and princes as servants going on the earth. He that diggeth a ditch shall fall into it, and an edre shall beat him that destroyeth an hedge. He that beareth over stones shall be tormented in tho, and he that cutteth trees shall be wounded of tho. If iron is folded again, and this is not as before, but is made blunt, it shall be made sharp with much travail, and wisdom shall sue after business. If a serpent beateth, it beateth in silence. He that backbeateth privily hath no thing less than it. The words of the mouth of a wise man is grass, and the lips of an unwise man shullen cast him down. The beginning of his words is folly, and the last thing of his mouth is the worst error. A fool multiplieth words. A man knoweth what was before him, and who may show to him that shall come after him. The travail of fools shall torment him that kunne not go into the city. Land, woe to thee, whose king is a child, and whose prince is eaten early. Blessed is the land whose king is noble, and whose prince is eaten in her time, to sustain the kind, and not to waste. The heichness of houses shall be made low in sloths, and the house shall drop in the feebleness of hondes. In lying they disposen bread and wine, that they drinking eat largely, and alle things obeyen to money. In the thought backbeateth thou not the king, and in the privity of the bed curse thou not rich man, for the bridges of heaven shullen bear the voice, and he that hath pennes shall tell the sentence. End of chapter 10. Chapter 11 of the Book of Ecclesiastes, in the Wycliffe translation. Revision of John Purvey, 1395. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Martin Geeson. Send thee bread on waters passing forth, for after many times thou shalt find it. If thou part 7 and also 8, for thou wost not what evil shall come on earth. If cloudes ben filled, thou shullen shed out rain on the earth. If a tree falleth down to the south, either to the north, in whatever place it falleth down, there it shall be. He that espieth the wind soweth not, and he that beholdeth the clouds shall never reap. As thou knowest not which is the way of the spirit, and by what reason bones ben joined together in the womb of a woman with child, so thou knowest not the works of God, which is maker of all things. Early sow the seed, and thine hand cease not in the eventide. For thou wast not what shall come forth more, this either that, and if ever either cometh forth together, it shall be the better. The licht is sweet and delectable to the eyen to see the sun. If a man liveth many years, and is glad in alle days, he oweth to have mind of dark time, and of many days, and when those shullen come, things passed shullen be repraved of vanity. Therefore, so young man, be glad in the youth, and thine heart be in good in the days of the youth, and go thou in the ways of thine heart, and in the beholding of thine eyen, and weet thou that for all these things God shall bring thee into doom. Do thou away ire fro thine heart, and remove thou malice fro thy flesh. for we jungs and lust ben vaine things. End of chapter 11. Chapter 12 of the Book of Ecclesiastes in the Wycliffe translation. Revision of John Purvey, 1395. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Martin Geeson. Have thou mind on the creature in the days of the youth, before that the time of the torment come, and the years of the death nigh, of which thou shalt say, thou please not me. Have thou mind on the creature before that the sun bederg, and the licht and stars and the moon, and cloud turn again after rain. When the capparis of the hous shouldn't be moved, and strongest men shouldn't tremble, and grindest shouldn't be idle, when the number shall be mad less, and sairers be the holes shouldn't wax dark, and shouldn't close the doors in the street in the lowness of voice of a grinder, and they shouldn't rise at the voice of a breed, and all the daughters of song shouldn't wax deaf, and he things shouldn't dread, and shouldn't be afeard in the way. An alemaunde tree shall floure, a locuste shall be mad fat, and capparis shall be distried. For a man shall go into the house of his euerlastyngnesse, and wilders shouldn't go about in the street. Have thou mind on the creature before that a silvern rope be broken, and a golden lass ren again, and a water pot to be out broken on the well, and a whale be broken together on the cistern, and dust turn again into his earth whereof it was, and the spirit turn again to God that gave it. The vanity of vanities, said Ecclesiastes, the vanity of vanities, and all things ben vanity. And when Ecclesiastes was most wise, he taught the people, and he told out the things which he did, and he sought out wisdom, and made many parables. He sought profitable words, and he wrote most rightful words, and full of truth. The words of wise men ben as prickes, and as nails fastned deep, which ben often of all shepherd be the counsels of maistres. My son, seek thou not more than these. None end is to make many books, and oft thinking is torment of flesh. Alleway hear together the end of speaking. Dread thou God, and keep his hastes, that is to say, each man. God shall bring all things into doom that ben done, for each thing done be error, whether it be good either evil. End of chapter 12. Recording by Martin Geeson in Haslemere, Surrey. End of the Book of Ecclesiastes in the Wycliffe translation, revised by John Purvey, 1395.